talk to you about your true door, the doorway to your body, the doorway to your vessel, the door that lets everything and everyone into life. And to dive into Trinity 1 of the Ghost Points, to really understand this modality that is a ancient Taoist modality that was created thousands of years ago by and has been used to help to liberate trauma from the body, help to liberate mental and emotional distress, as these were all seen as spiritual crises. And Trinity 1 is the first layer of points that we go into. You will know that this ceremony is going to be supportive for you because it also starts to understand how we get influenced by things outside of ourselves. So if you have ever navigated life situations where you felt like you're no longer operating in your true authentic self, it's because something externally has come in and has influenced you. Now, this can be influenced from parents, it can be influenced from trauma, it can be influenced from teachers, from society, and it really helps us to understand how these layers of division and separation get created and how people can change how they interface with the world so radically as a result of what we call ghosts. So whenever you hear me say this word ghosts, we're really talking about anything that is lingering in your energetic field and that is not your true self. That's not your pure essence. And your pure essence you were born with, right? This is your soul, this is your pure essence. And anything that comes in and has you think about life in a certain way, has you think about yourself in a certain way, has you doubt your capacity, as you start operating from the state of fight or flight, these are all ghosts. So in the Ghost Point Ceremonies, there are 13 points, and each point addresses a different layer or a different depth that these ghosts, that these energetic imprints that feed off of your energy. So we can also talk about, and we get into the release of sexual imprints, sexual partners, whether they were abusive or they were just normal partners that you had that maybe their energy is still present, and you know their energy is still present because let's say you move forward and you move on in life, and the moment that you do, they reach back out. That is because that person is still energetically connected to you, and when things are energetically connected to you, they are energetically feeding off of you. Each Trinity goes deeper and deeper, really getting to the core. We would never jump into Trinity 4 because Trinity 4, without preparing ourselves, would totally shock our system. These are very powerful shamanic experiences. And it's important to not get this word shamanic confused with psychedelic or plant medicine and things like that, because there are shamans that work without any mind-altering substances that have worked with needles or the energy body, right? A shaman is anything that alchemizes and transforms energy from one thing to another, freeing and liberating energy to create a spiritual experience, a spiritual realization. So these points were seen back in the day as shamanic medicine. And the Trinities slowly work at peeling away the layers until we really get to the depth of where these ghosts can go. And the first Trinity is all about how ghosts first come in. So there's 3 points that we activate in this first Trinity. And the first point is all about your door. So we all have a doorway. And if you think about doorways or thresholds, these are how we enter into a space. So your body, your energetic field has a doorway. It's how things enter into your space. And we were all born with a door that's unique for us, for our life path, for the lessons that we're here to grow through, for the opportunities that we're here to receive, for the love that's meant to come in. And that door gets changed and altered. It potentially becomes blown off the hinges and completely no longer shuts at all and everything just keeps coming in, or it becomes locked solid closed and nothing can come in. Through this first point, we really address your door, what gets let into your energetic field, how things come into your life, the people that you're attracting into your life, the opportunities, the situations that are showing up in your life. This is all a result of this first point in the ghost points. We get to this depth with this point, and this point is all about helping you to return to your true chi, your true door, and to get that door back to a state where it is healthy for you, meaning it knows when to open and to let people in that are beneficial for your highest and greatest growth. It knows when to stay closed and to not allow people into your field. And it also goes in and allows you to gain access again to yourself. Because sometimes when that door becomes so hardened, we lose access to ourselves. So that's the first point. It's all about how you interface with the world, how things come into your life. So if you've had people come into your life that have mistreated you, if you've had people that have come into your life that have told you things about yourself that were unkind and potentially even cruel, abusive in any way, and this could also be things that we may not have thought of as abusive at the time, or we may not have realized were abusive at the time. And I can give an example of this. Some of you may know that I published a book back in 2018, I believe it was, called Creator Consciousness. And that book was like this full creation that came through me. I wrote that book in 3 months. It was just nonstop writing. And before that time, like a lot of you know me for my writing, you know me for my voice and for how I share and express myself in this world. However, when I was a child, I had teachers tell me that my writing was terrible, that I shouldn't write, that I shouldn't be in creative arts. I was much more developed as a small child in math and in science. And math was like language that I understood because I'm a cosmic being. Math is the universal language. So I really got math. I excelled in math. Whereas English and literature and reading, I had a neuro condition, so reading was really challenging for me. So I actually had teachers tell me that my writing was terrible. I had teachers not let me read my writing because my ideas were too far out there. And that really impacted me. So what happened in that moment was those stories came into my door, came into my life, and then we go to the next point. So the ghost first comes in. Now, some people may think about that now and realize, wow, that teacher should have never said that. How many teachers are out there saying these types of things to kids? Maybe they were having a stress day. Maybe they were finding my energy at the time a little bit overwhelming for themselves. Maybe they were just trying to encourage, who knows what was happening in that person's life. However, that was a belief, a projection, a story about me that as a small child, I let into my world. I let into my door. And what happens then is we go to the second point. So each point is how the ghost enters your field. So it comes in through this first point. Then the ghost goes deeper. And then we go into what's called ghost convincing. And now the ghost has come in, this thought, this idea, this belief about ourselves comes in, and we now get convinced by this ghost, by this belief, by this idea, by this story, or by this trauma, to now believe it. So then in this example that I'm giving from my own life, I started to believe that I wasn't a great writer, that I wasn't proficient at writing, or I didn't excel in that area. And so I didn't put any time or energy into that area. I rushed through everything. I did the bare minimum to pass in school, and I didn't get excited about something that now, as a almost 37-year-old adult, writing is the most therapeutic thing that I do. Writing lights me up more than anything. Writing is what has grown a multiple six-figure business that has generated over 7 figures in sales in the past decade. Writing is my zone of genius. It's how I move spirit through my body and into this world. Yet for a really long time, I believed, because of this ghost that came in, this person's belief about me came in, and I let it come in because I was a child. And I started to then believe that ghost. I believed this teacher. I believed that I was not a great writer. And I started to doubt myself. And I started to lose trust in myself. So at this next point that we go to, ghost convincing, now the ghost has come in and we start to doubt ourselves. We lose trust in ourselves. We start to feel bad or wrong. We start to live in this victimizer, this good, bad, right, wrong paradigm where we can never get ahead because the ghost has made us believe that we're bad or wrong. So if you're living in a reality of duality where there is good and bad, right and wrong, and you have this ghost that's telling you you're bad at this, what you're saying is wrong, what does that do unconsciously? Well, that has you believe that you're a bad person, that there's something wrong with you. And that also creates this reality where, let's say, another example, and this one is a really big one. Let's say your parents get divorced when you're a small child, or maybe you had a sibling that passed away when you were a small child, or maybe there was an accident that happened, or something that happened in your life. Maybe one of your parents was abusive to the other parent. Whatever goes on, there is just so many complex things that children and we are all experiencing right now on the planet. So at this point in Trinity 1, the child starts to think that it's their fault. It's my fault that my parents got divorced. It's my fault that mommy and daddy are fighting. It's my fault that my brother passed away. It's my fault that dog ran away. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. I'm a bad person. There's something wrong with me. And that then layers and layers on this self-doubt, this lack of self-worth over and over again. And at this point, so the way that the Trinities work, the way that the ghost points work, as we are energetically working with this point, we are liberating that. So at the last point, the door, we are liberating all these false doors. We are cleansing your door. We are returning you back to your true chi, to your pure door. At the second point that we go into, ghost convincing, we are now liberating all of these stories, all of these thoughts, all of these ideas that have said, you're not enough. It goes out and we clear their mouth. And I like to think of it this way. We are talking about a modality that has lasted thousands of years. And our energetic body, even though we are different emanations, we have different personalities and different characteristics in how we look, how we create, how we talk, how we move through this world, our energetic bodies are all organized in the same way. We all have a lung, we all have a liver, we all have a spleen, we all have a heart, we all have these organs, and we have these energetic meridians that are associated with these organs. All of our bodies are built and run the same way. This is really, I see it like a science. This is why the scientific part of me nerds out about this, because this is a proven method. That is how energy, these ghosts come in, these traumas come in, these shadows come in, and they hijack and they live inside of your energetic body in these points. So it's like the ghost points are this key that goes in and unlocks the door so that you can open it up again and clear out all the junk. So the third point that I want to talk about today, we're just going to talk about Trinity 1 today, is ghost eyes. So now this journey, the ghost has come in, this idea, this experience, or this trauma has happened, and it has now infiltrated into your field, and it has now had you start doubting yourself and feeling bad and wrong and thinking that things are your fault. And now at ghost eyes, the ghost convinces you to see the world the way the ghost wants you to see the world. So we then start seeking out external validation. So this goes in and it infiltrates what's called your reticular activating system in your brain, which is this incredible part of your pons, which is in your hindbrain underneath the brainstem, that basically is looking for evidence and validation from your environment at all times to validate your stories and your programs and yourself, validate who you are. So at this point, through those eyes, the trauma has come in, and now it has us start going out and seeing the world through that trauma. So an example of this from the story that I shared about my writing, right? I went out for many years and I would not write. I would not let people read my writing. I was so self-conscious. And what happened was that when I did start to come out of the closet metaphorically and start sharing my writing 12 years ago on Facebook and things like that, I had a lot of people criticize me for my grammar, criticize me for my punctuation, criticize me for all these things that to me didn't fucking matter. You're missing the point of this energetic transmission that's coming through. But because I had those doubts inside of my unconscious from this trauma that happened, from these ghosts, these beliefs that I picked up from someone else's identity and beliefs of me, and I took them on as my own as a small child, I then got external validation from other people being like, oh, your spelling's off, oh, you misspelled this word, oh, this, that, or the other thing, and constantly was getting this feedback because the ghost, once it hijacks you, it starts having you see the world through that lens. And another example of this could be, let's say you were in a car accident and you got in a car accident with a, let's just say, a red Toyota truck, right? And now when you start to go out and drive, anytime you see a red Toyota truck, you freeze. You think that red Toyota truck is going to hurt you because that trauma now has changed and altered how you see the world. Even though that is a completely different red Toyota truck with a completely different driver, and it's very unlikely that truck, because it's a Toyota red truck, is going to get in an accident again. Another example could be this is a big one. You watched your parents get divorced as a small child, and you watched a really aggressive divorce happen as a small child. So now as an adult, you are terrified of marriage. You are terrified of commitment. You question all of these little things if you're a woman and you like men, you would then be in a position where you would be your mother and you would be looking at men like they were your fathers. You'd be looking to identify all these things that cause that separation. Same thing, vice versa, right? So you'd be looking at potential partners from the lens of this pain of watching this divorce and now looking at every single person. A great example I can give actually from a conversation I had with someone the other day, this young woman who was in her 20s, she was cheated on by a partner in her late teens, maybe she was 20, 21 at the time she was cheated on. And now she's 6, she's in a different relationship. But this different relationship is showing the gentleman that she's dating is showing some characteristics from her. So she's now looking and she's, okay, I can't trust this person. I want to check his phone. So she went through and actually started secretly checking his phone because she was convinced that he was cheating on her, because this is what her last partner does, even though this man wasn't actually cheating. But the ghost of that trauma, still not being resolved, has been now convinced that people will cheat on you. And what will happen is through being convinced that people will cheat on you, people will show up who will cheat on you. Because that's how the ghosts work. These energetic imprints being in your field, they make you question your reality and start letting things in, because once your door has been compromised, and it's now being controlled by your trauma and your ghost, you're going to start attracting in what it wants to attract into your life. And that's usually not things that are all joy and all love and peace and kindness. It's usually intense pain and suffering that gets attracted in when we are still living our lives through these traumas or through these belief systems that we picked up from other people. Now let's just give another example here. Maybe you were raised with a emotionally unavailable parent, or a parent who had some narcissistic qualities, or a parent who was just not available, or a parent who walked away, or somehow that connection to the parent wasn't there. And when they were around, they said little cruel comments about your looks and about your intelligence. And it was never violent, maybe it was never abusive in that really intense way. And you maybe just brushed it off, but you heard it over and over again as a kid. Oh, you aren't skinny enough, or you aren't strong enough, or oh, you aren't this, or oh, you aren't that, or oh, maybe you should dress differently. You constantly were getting this feedback from the people that were meant to be your parents, ushering you and providing for you and bringing you into who you are. And they were constantly giving you this feedback that you weren't enough. So you started to see the world that way. So you started to attract people into your life who would also give you that same validation that made you feel like you weren't enough. These are all ghosts. These are all experience of ghosts. So your ghosts can come in from extreme traumas like accidents. I've done the ghost points with military people who are working in military, who have gone to war. Their ghosts are plugged into the body the same way as a emotionally unavailable parent is. And this is why it's so powerful, because these ghosts, they change how you think and how you feel and how you see the world. So as we go in through the points and clear this out, you start to see the world again through your original innocence, through your true self, not through the lens of all the stories from your parents and all the traumas that you've navigated through and all of the complex relationships that you've had as a result of the ghosts that were in your field attracting these really complex relationships and these toxic patterns. And they had you start, anytime you are mistreating your body, this is a really another big key here. Anytime you are mistreating your body, it can look like eating things that you know are not making you feel well. Let's say you eat a bunch of pizza, right? And you are allergic to dairy and you just keep eating it and your stomach just hurts more and more. You keep eating it, right? You know you're allergic. You've been tested, yet you can't stop yourself from eating it and making yourself feel sick. Or you look in the mirror and the first thing that you think about yourself is that you look horrible, or that you look tired, or that you look angry, or that you look this, or that you look that. Anytime you are physically, mentally, or emotionally abusive towards yourself, that is never you. That is never your original, pure essence would never abuse your body, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. It just wouldn't happen. So what actually is happening in those moments then, because this is we have a huge mental health crisis on our hands, we have a huge physical health crisis. We are in a crisis of health throughout the dimensions on this planet at this time. And there are so many people of all genders, of all ages, who knowingly do things that are toxic for their body. Another example is I had this hairdresser, and she was, when I was blonde, right, I was having to bleach and do these things, and she was not using gloves. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're not using gloves while you're running this stuff through my hair. And here I am, like, breathing hydrogen, sucking down glutathione, working with my PEMF, like doing all these things to combat the toxins so that I wouldn't take them in. And she is here just air handing it. And I was like, you know that this makes your hands, or literally hands are burning and our skin is peeling. I'm like, you know that this is happening. Like, why are you not just putting gloves on? It's such a simple solution. Just put gloves on. And she was like, I just can't, I know that, but it's just this part of me that's, I don't want to be here. So I do these things. Like, we would have really deep conversations because you can't like work up my crown chakra and not have really deep conversations. She was like, there's this part of me that just doesn't want to be here. So I do things that I know are harmful to my body because that part of me just doesn't care. So that is a very common thing that people are experiencing today. They will continue to do things that are harmful to themselves. They will speak about themselves in a way that's harmful to themselves, to their heart, to their self-esteem. Yet they can't stop. And it's not because they are bad and wrong. It's not because they are broken. It's not because that's actually even their thoughts. These are the thoughts of ghosts. These are the thoughts that were imprinted into the field from experiences that happened, from bullies, from parents, from traumatic events, from things that you saw on TV repeatedly over, and started to condition you to see the world through a certain way that wasn't authentic to how yourself wanted to see the world. So this first Trinity really addresses and helps liberate what we call post-traumatic stress. So PTSD is directly freed from the body through this third point in Trinity 1. So right away, when we go into the 4 Trinities, so there's 4 Trinities, 13 points. Each Trinity has 3 points, except for the 4th Trinity that has an additional point. And we do them one at a time. And when we do that virtually, we do 1 Trinity every time that we have a call. And that takes a couple of hours that we work with just these 3 points because we are moving a lot of energy, clearing, processing, shifting, and guiding you through breath work. We are activating these points through these little scalar discs. I don't have any right around me. You can go check out my last reel. I had them in there, and they're actually imprinted with your picture, your birth date, your name, and tuned to energetic purification specifically for your body. So I ship these to you custom. And so they are designed to help energetically clear you specifically. So that's one way that we can really ensure this energetic integrity and that it's really effective for you in a way that is just so profound. It, to me, is way more profound than working with needles, which is why I work with the energetic discs. It's why I work with the light and sound as well. And so right away, this Trinity 1 is addressing really high level of trauma that has changed how we see the world. And then we move deeper in Trinity 2, deeper in Trinity 3, and even deeper in Trinity 4. And I will come back and for the next 4 days, share with you a little bit more about each Trinity, just to keep this video as short as possible, because I can chat a lot about this. That being said, it is such a unique process. Again, there's questions that people will have and that people will come to, but there is one thing that we are all share. We all share a body. We all share a human body. All of our bodies work and operate the same way. Our energetic field runs energy in the same way. And when you know how these things come in and hook into the energetic field, you can then know how to go in and unhook them. And I've not seen anything work in the same way that these 6 points have. And every facilitator is going to facilitate them differently because what's in your facilitator's field matters. What your facilitator has been able to process and integrate and move through is a level at which they're going to be able to move through things for you. So it's really important that you resonate with who you feel called to do this work for, that you trust them, that you feel drawn to them, that you feel safe with them, that you know that they move through things that are profound and that they can help you move through things that are profound beyond just the physical. Because so much of what a lot of the people are dealing with right now is generational. These ghosts that have been passed forward from generation to generation, these patterns that have been passed forward for generations, that now so many awakening souls are coming to the planet and they're like, okay, it's time to clean everything up. We are in the cleanup phase, and there's truly nothing like the ghost points for the cleanup phase. So if you have any questions about this, we are in our last 10 days to register for the ceremonies that are starting in December. So November 16th is the last day to register. That's because I have to get your disc ready, ship everything out to you, make sure that everyone has it in time. And I believe we have about 10 spaces left for this next group. So it is a small group. So make sure that if you are wanting to join, especially if you're outside of the US, that you reach out as soon as possible so that we can get things shipped to you even earlier than people in the US, just to avoid any shipping delays. That being said, please send me a message. You got questions. If you want to discuss anything, I can send you the link. The page is really thorough. It really shows you who this is for and who would be better served maybe doing this work with me one-on-one. And we can go from there. If you have questions, if you want to chat, just send a message. I'm here for you, and I will send you all the link to learn more. Hope that y'all have a beautiful day. I will be back here tomorrow, same time, to dive into Trinity 2.